book Billy Alsbrooks to speak at your next event. Call 407-310-3275. Warning, videos by Billy Alsbrooks do cause side effects. And those side effects are champions being born, dreams being realized, the weak becoming strong, weight loss, victory over unbelievable odds, incredible comeback stories, the sick being healed, marriages being restored, victory over all forms of addiction, job promotions, average people becoming millionaires, warriors becoming blessed and unstoppable. These videos will motivate and inspire you to take action. Warning, your faith is now being increased to the level it takes to move mountains. Arise, champion. I'm Billy Alsbrooks and I approve this message.
Billy, I just want to let you know that we're very blessed to have you here today. You know, it's been a long time coming. I've been listening to videos for months now at the gym and in my personal life. It's been helping me a lot, and your passion to God to turn your life around. You're really a role model for all of us at Monarch Roofing. So I'm really glad that you're here.
Thank you, man.
We'll learn so much from you, man. Tell me a little bit about what you can tell us about your past, because you went through some dark side, you know, and we all do, you know, myself and everybody. How can you come out? What's some of the things you can tell anybody to get out of the darkness, basically?
Well, basically, you've got to change the vision that you see in your mind. You got to get a vision for the victory. For some of them, watching might know my story, but I rapped 17 years, was in the music business, had a big void on the inside that I tried to fill with the world, the money, the fame, the women, all of the accolades, all that stuff. I tried to fill my life with that. And no matter how high I went, I felt even more empty. You know, chasing the wrong things will take you to the wrong place. And that's what I was doing for years. And the turning point in my life was when my dad passed away in front of me. Then I knew life was precious. I knew life was real. You know, before that time, I thought, you know, nothing, you know, when you're young, you're bold, you're a risk taker, all this stuff, you think, hey, I got the, you know, rest of my life. I don't need to worry about anything. And then boom, life hits you, you know, with a blind shot, knocks you down on the mat. And it made me re-examine everything that I had done up to that point in my life. And he died unexpectedly in front of me, which triggered PTSD and panic attacks in me. 7 years after he passed, man, I was still struggling with the effects of that. It basically robbed everything that I had built up the 17 years in my music business. It robbed every bit of it. All the money, the fame, the friends, everything was stripped away, and it was just me. That was it, you know. But in that dark time, man, I found myself. You know, and it's like when there's a moment of desperation, that's God's invitation to come in. And I invited him in because I was at the end of me, and I said, you know, this is how my life is going to be. It's going to be this dark cycle every single day unless you come in and hear me, because I don't know what to do. I've done everything the doctors told me to do. I've done everything the therapist told me to do. I've read every book that I could get my hands on, and I'm still here. I don't know what else to do. And I made a pact with God. I said, you know, if you heal me of this, I will go out and I will tell the world who did it. And he honored that promise. He gave me a Bible verse, for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans to give you a hope in the future. Now that was running contrary to the vision the enemy gave me. The panic attacks were saying I was gonna die, my life is over, the best days are gone, and all the stuff like that, right? You got cancer, you're gonna have a stroke like your father, you're gonna have a heart attack, all this stuff. That vision that God gave me ran contrary to that one. Now I had a choice. Choose fear and doubt, or choose faith and healing and life. And I chose faith, healing, and life. And I started believing in that promise. And every time these panic attacks would come on, I would fight them back one by one now. Because now I had something that I could hold on to, this promise, this verse. So these panic attacks would come on to me and they'd say, oh, you know, you twitch, my arm would twitch. And I think, oh, I'm having a stroke, like my dad. Because this is what happened to my dad. He had a, you know, he twitched and boom. So it would send me to the hospital. Every time, until I got equipped with this new verse, this new way of seeing things, this new vision for my life. So when this stuff would come on me, I'd say, no. God said, he got a plan for me. So I would start talking back. This is the first time that I took the mic from the enemy in my mind. I took the mic back. See, when my dad died, before my dad died, I was on the mic mentally, I had the mic. When he died in front of me, I gave the mic to the enemy. And the enemy spoke to me for 7 years. Then I took the mic back and I started speaking life, what God had told me to do. And day by day, I slowly, it wasn't an overnight thing.
Right?
7 years, man, 7 years. I went from being on the stage in front of 20,000 people with the music to being in a room, in a corner, in my bedroom for 2 weeks at a time because I was too scared to get out of the room, thinking I was gonna have a panic attack.
So from 20,000 people watching you on stage
Right.
to the corner of your room,
Right.
and you versus you at this point, you mentioned
That's
a
right.
lot of things
Right.
about this to trying to change your mind, basically
Right.
to change your mindset, because mindset in your
Is
videos
everything.
again, it is everything.
Right.
Where you think you are, that's who you can become. And
Right.
tell us a little about the vision that you have now from that point. You know, when you're in the corner of your room, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking at that point in time, it's over. I mean, as I mentioned to you earlier, I said my last words over 30 times, thinking I was gonna die. When these panic attacks would come on, I'd tell my wife, hey, you know, I love you, sorry, whatever. And I literally thought that was my last word. And I did this over and over and over. So, man, I was living in a constant state of trauma and fear. And to get that mic back, to get that vision that God gave me, man, it just empowered me. And every day I gained a little bit more of my life back, a little bit more of my life back, a little bit more of my identity back. You know, he started planting things in me, one little piece at a time, what I'm doing now. He gave me one little piece at a time. It wasn't like, oh, you're gonna be a speaker and you're gonna go do that. No. It was like, okay, I want you to write a book, you know, and I had been flirting with that, you know, and then later on I got the book finished, and then it was like, you know those motivational videos you used to listen to when you had panic attacks and you were walking outside every day having these panic attacks and the therapist told you to listen to these videos? You remember what you heard? Okay, you wrote songs for years, you produced for years, you were on a mic for years, you know what that is, and now you know this other. Okay, you can combine these two and you can go out and tell the world that I healed you and I'll heal them too. So like he started unveiling all these little things, man, one at a time. And as I mentioned earlier, when I rapped, I had this idea in my head, with this microphone, I could change my life. If I was good, I could get whatever I wanted, right? But God revealed to me behind this mic that I not only could change my life, but I could change the world. And that was totally different. I got behind that mic 17 years and never thought that way. For 17 years, I looked at that mic and I never thought that way, but it all changed. One day I was doing a video, like my 6th or 7th video that I had put on YouTube. And I still hadn't figured it out. I'm still playing with it. I don't know it's a career. I don't know it's any of that stuff. Just before anything blew up. And I'm standing in front of that mic and the light switch went off. It said, you can change the world right here. And then it was like another anointing came on me. More power came on me. More intensity arose in me. And then when I spoke with the mic, I started speaking with authority. I wasn't speaking from my head no more or my heart no more. I was speaking from the spirit. And I thought every time I opened my mouth, man, this power is going out, you know, to change the world. And now I got a way to fight back. 7 years, I didn't know how to fight back. It was like the enemy had me. I had my arms, you know, tied behind my back, and he's just beating on me every day, right? And I was, you know, I'm a fighter. I grew up as a martial artist, black belt, national champion, won state champion 4 years in a row, trained with the Olympic team, all that. So I knew about fighting. So when I got in this situation, I'm like, how do you fight your mind? It's not a person. Like, how do I get in there and scrap it out? It's me that I'm fighting with, you know? So then when I got in front of that mic, it's like, okay, this is how you're gonna fight back. This is what I want you to do. And then I was like, oh, all those years I couldn't fight. Like I didn't have nothing. I didn't have no. Yeah, I had no way to defend myself. Yeah. And I'm like, Lord, you just anointed my mouth, and you put this microphone in front of me, and you're giving me a world audience to do it. I'm finna come hard, because I remember all those times when I was crying around that block every day. You know, every single day I'd go around to just tears, man. You know, Lord, why? You know, cussing at God, mad at God, numb at God, silent to God, like every emotion you could do, man. I had it. So when he had healed me and started to bring me out, man, I took it very serious. You know, because I know there's somebody like me on the other side of that mic, on the other side of those videos. There's people thinking about suicide. There's people thinking about giving up. They got cancer, you know, got a death sentence where they say they're only gonna live 6 weeks. These are the people listening to me. So I'm like, oh, that's me. I'm talking to me now, but now I get to talk me 7 years ago to that same person that was, you know, in drama back then. So I get on that mic now and I just rock thinking of me going around that block.
And it's amazing. You said something about this earlier when we were talking. You said, I'm so patient. And you see, when you're talking, it says, okay, you did higher level competition in martial arts.
Right.
You were a rapper, so God gives you 2 avenues to perfect your skills.
Right,
martial art to be competition.
Right.
The rap and to your voice is
the
so
artist,
deep.
creativity.
My God, man, every time we listen to your voice on YouTube, it's always, I know right away it's you. It's really this thing. So and now it gets you here. How's your patience and your skills and the trust in God? Seems like it's been your foundation for the whole time.
In my music career, everything had to be right now. You know, right now, right now, right now. I had no patience. You know, and I burned a lot of bridges, made a lot of mistakes. My passion was right, but I didn't have anybody, you know, mentoring me and coaching me and guiding me and, you know, took me under the wing and said, hey, you know, it'll be okay, play the long-term game. Nobody was telling me that. And my world is get it now, get it while it's hot. That's the life we live. But now it's like the long-term game. Once I shift to the long-term game, man, it's so empowering. Because now I'm principle-oriented, man, not visually oriented, like what I see in the world. No, it's what it's gonna be. You know, success is a war over the invisible, you know, and it requires vision and the faith to see what could be, can be, and will be when you water it with grind. So I know if I just tap into these principles that I learned during the 7-year struggle, that I studied trying to conquer my own mental stuff, these principles, I know if I tap into them, they are guaranteed to produce fruit. So I need not be shaken by the world if it doesn't reflect yet what I want it to be, because I'm going to project so hard out of me and my vision in my mind and communicate it and speak life so hard and so consistent that world is going to fold and bend to what I want it to be. So now I can play the long-term game, and then a patient man or woman becomes powerful. They become magnetic, and people will gather around that because they know and sense something is different. You know, most of the world don't have that long-term game mentality. They have the microwave. Let me put it in 15 seconds. I hope I be successful.
Everybody's like this now, right?
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
Now with the social media, everything's online. We get a like on Facebook is a little fulfillment inside, you know.
Right.
But you play the long game and you believe in something greater, that the dots somehow, right, they will connect. Because if you look at your past, that makes you who you are today, which is amazing.
God is good. God is good.
You told me about this earlier too. Says there's different leadership. There's motivational leaders. Right. There's motivational speakers, and then you told me you're a motivational artist, which is unbelievable. From your brand to your voice to your inspiration. Tell me a little bit more about what that means to you.
The motivational artist aspect is, I used to be the songwriter, music producer. It's in my blood since I was 1 year old. I mentioned to you earlier, my grandmother had a music store, my mother music teacher, my father in the Music Hall of Fame for playing music. So I had this music and creativity vibe in me from day one. And when I got out of rapping, that seemed to be lacking. Like speaking and, you know, reciting things and like that fed my spirit on the motivational side because that was a part of me. But this artist and creative side there was a void there, right? So I kept in prayer about it. God revealed to me in Revelation, like, look, take the poetry, take the songwriting, take the producing that you used to do over there and bring it into what I've got you doing. That's what it's for. You know, you got this writing skill. If you give it to me, I will harness it and I will leverage it and I will send it out in the world. So I'm like, now I'm resonating on all levels on my inside. You know, everything is being tapped into and touched. I'm on fire with passion because there's so many things in what I do I'm passionate about. You know, whether it's positivity, self-help, I read that all day long. So that's in me, right? The speaking aspect and having a voice is me. And then the writing aspect, the creating and getting up every day and not knowing what's going to be on that paper, but having that ability. Oh, I just love to watch something from a blank piece of paper, go from the blank piece of paper to the dry erase board, to the chalkboard, to in reality, man. It's amazing. It's a euphoria and a high to watch the whole creation process, man. So I've made creativity a foundation of what I'm doing. So not just speaking, doing motivational speaking, man. I'm trying to incorporate this other unique thing that's on the inside of me that needs to be expressed. So that's why I'm marrying the two. I'm still in the process of learning how to blend these and marry these, but they are coming together. Eventually, this thing will be one unique product of its own, but it still takes chiseling.
You know, we have motivational leaders, motivational speakers, but artists, you know, and again, like in the gym or wherever we're doing, we listen to your products all the time on YouTube because it's so different and it reach out to me and I know to the team, the Monarch. So it's a very blessing to have you here. You said something about how to become successful, the consistency to do it over and over, to believe into something else and opportunities. What's some of your opportunities that you have that really help you maybe focus on one thing? Seems like you're very focused now on this motivational artist leadership. What can you tell us, like what should we focus on to become successful, basically?
You've got to find out what your calling is, what you're most passionate about. And that you have to build everything around that. If there's no passion, there's going to be no energy, no intensity, no power to go to that next level. You see a lot of people, like with me in the rap game, I kept hitting this ceiling. Like I did probably more in the rap game than 95% of the people that were in it. You know, I had multiple songs on the radio, hit Billboard, had my own radio show, produced for Gold and Platinum Max. That put me here, but I wasn't striving to beat the 95. I was just striving to beat #1, right? But I kept hitting this ceiling, and I couldn't understand why. And then later on, I realized what it was is I had great success in music because that was part of me, and that's part of my calling, which I'm doing now. But I wasn't all the way in the calling. I was just outside it. So I was producing all this fruit because I'm close. But when I got in my own center of my calling, that's when things took off. And it's not a strain. It's not like in music, I was having to physically, you know, we talk about grind, but I was grinding against the grain. So it's like I had a crazy work ethic, but it was like every time I'd go up, 2 steps back. You know what I mean? Like something was holding me back and I couldn't figure out what it was. But in this now, when you get in the center of your calling, man, I'm not saying you won't have struggles in the calling, but it's like you're on this other level of function, man, a deeper and a higher level of power that you are projecting. And it just makes everything different. So even when you have the struggle, it's a fun struggle because man, this is what I love to do. If this struggle, I will figure it out in my calling, you know? So man, it's just been amazing. So I suggest anybody that's listening to find what it is, what role in the company or whatever they're doing, to find what they really love and build everything in their life around that thing. You know, when you get up in the morning, you should be excited to get up. And when you have to close your eyes, you should be mad that you got to go to sleep. You know, and if you can get to that point in whatever you're doing, you will be successful because that becomes magnetic and powerful, and people just notice something different about you. You know?
It's amazing what you're saying. You know, again, it's you get my heart going faster because I'm really passionate. A lot of similarities about getting other people becoming better, and I feel that's your center now.
Right.
You want to help others to become better, to understand that they can accomplish more than what they are right now. You're just at the beginning. Use your past, your dark side, your good side to become better.
Right.
When you have struggle now, like like everyone, do you go back to your dark side to say, okay, I'm not going back there, or you go like, okay, I'm building on something, or you don't even have a dark side anymore?
It's a combination. The things of the dark, like the grind, the hustle, the not taking the no for the answer, and the power and stuff that I did, but it's rooted in a righteous undertone. You know, all the grind and all stuff, what I was doing over there negative, was rooted in the wrong things. I've took the core values out and replaced them with good things, and now the things that were wrong and bad are now have become weapons of good. So it's the same process, but the motive behind them, the heart behind them is totally different. You know, so I still grind, I still go out there and do all that. I will still smash if I have to smash, but I smash knowing, first of all, making sure I'm in line with God. You know, seeking his guidance first, and then if it's time to smash, I know God's behind me and I will smash and do whatever I got to do to break through barriers. You know, whatever's in the way.
You have a commitment now.
Right.
God. You committed.
Exactly.
That's it.
I'm devoted
Promise.
with it. Yeah,
so
right.
That's it.
You got to do it. Got to do it.
Every day is because, okay, I promise God.
Right.
That we commitment. So your decisions are very easy now.
Right.
Everything you do, it's not like, shit, that's bad. No.
Right.
Is it what my promise is? I'm going back to that line all the time.
Right.
You can keep straight.
It's an absolute certainty. Like now, like when I was music, I was like, you know, I tell everybody, I was constantly trying to sell the dream. Like, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna make it. I wasn't quite sure, but I was saying it. I was like, I gotta make it, I gotta make it. I don't have any other choice. With this, it's an absolute certainty. I didn't choose this. I didn't say I was gonna be no motivational speaker, man. You know, one day I was in this men's group at church, at the group because I'm having the panic attacks and I'm trying anything. I'm like, I gotta go to this group every Monday. And one night, the guy comes up to me who's leading the group. He's like, I'm not gonna be able to be here next week. Can you teach? And I'm like, what? Like, now I've never done any speaking. I've been rapping, but there was music and it was all choreographed. But to stand up there for an hour and a half, 2 hours with no script, you know, I was like, I don't want to do that, right? I don't see myself doing that because I never saw myself as a speaker.
And at that point, you have panic attack.
Right, I'm still having that too, and I'm like, I don't want to do that. But then something in me just said, just do it. So I said, okay, I'll do it, you know? I studied all week, was nervous and all that. I was like, how am I going to do this? But I get up there that night. I say like 2 words, you know, to the group. And then it was like a nuclear bomb went off on the inside of me. Boom, the fire arose. I had found where I had belonged, what I'd been searching for. I didn't know. But when I spoke, man, it was like, like fire that's coming out, and people were receiving it, and you could tell the energy, it was reacting and responding and resonating with it. And when I got done, I spoke for 2 hours, actually went over. I went 2.5 hours and nobody left. And then when we got done, we talked another hour. Everybody was still staying. And you know, on a Monday night at church, staying to 10, 30, 11 is not normal. So we were, we had the place lit up. So when I got home, I said, told my wife, I was like, I stumbled onto something, but I don't know what it is. I'm an entrepreneur. What is that business? You know, I didn't know, like, what is the spirit? I don't see any leverage. I don't see the, you know, so I just kind of dismissed it. Oh, that was fun. You know, that was a hobby. Yeah, that's cool, you know. But I knew the energy was different. I never felt that way. I spoke, 17 years on the mic rapping in front of 20,000, but I never felt that way that I did in front of those 30 people. Something was different, you know. And a couple of weeks later, I got asked again because the guy was having issues. Went up there, same thing. Boom, alarm went off. And I said, this is crazy, But I still didn't know. It was a year or two later before I even considered that, because I still couldn't figure, like, is this a profession? I'm not really, I'm an entrepreneur. I don't understand this. I know that's a hobby, like, teaching at church, loving people, loving your community, but I didn't see it as a profession. Like, this is just service, community service that I do on, for love, But I didn't put two and two to, like, no, this is your thing. This is everything that I want you to build your whole life around. I didn't see it that way. And each time I did it, every 2 or 3 months, I'd get asked, man, I'd light up. I'd look forward to it now. Now I was like, oh, you want me to teach? You want me to teach?
Please, right here.
But God had put this vision in me about writing this book. So I got asked to teach the whole summer at the men's group. The guy wasn't going to be able to teach, so I had to teach the whole summer. And I was doing like 10 hours of prep every time I would go do these sessions. 2-hour thing, but 10 hours prep. So I'm like, man, that's a lot of work. I said, well, if I'm doing all that work, why don't I just package all that up into a book format? I'm teaching this stuff anyway. I'll just take the same thing I'm studying and I'm writing and just bring it over into this book. So I wrote over the summer, I wrote the book while I was doing that class. But I still did not see speaking as my calling, my profession, my number one thing that, God had called me to do. I just thought I was, helping out. But once I got the book done, I had a bunch of, at that time I had a bunch of cell phone accessory places, businesses running, but I wasn't passionate about it. I was making money on it because I was good with numbers, but I started hating it. At first I liked, creating a business, and I did it, and they all flourished. I had multiple locations, but man, I started hating coming there. Like I was like, man, I can't wait to get out of here. And I was like, that's a sign, this, you're not supposed to be here. So I was like, I got to get out of here as soon as possible, but what do I do, right? I hadn't found myself yet. So I finished this book and I said, you know what? I don't know what God has. But when I finish this book, I'm selling these and I'm getting out, and I'm just going to step out in faith, not knowing. But I'm just going to trust him. And I did that. I sold it in November. January, I started doing the motivational videos to try to help sell the book, because I'm thinking the book, right? Yeah. So I'm like, I'll do a couple of these videos and have fun with it. I wasn't thinking global. I wasn't thinking this calling. But like I said before, about the 6 or 7 video in, man, aha moment, you could change the world behind this mic. You don't need the politicians in Washington. You don't need the state legislature. You can do it from where you're at. You don't need millions of dollars. You just need God. You need that fire, that anointing, and the boldness to say what he's going to tell me to say. That's it, and I can change the world, man. So I started coming in there with a different purpose and started speaking with that fire. And like a video or two later, the champion video went viral, millions all over on different channels, and then everything just took off. And it was like, oh, I found it, and it was like, once it clicked, I think it really clicked when I was front of the mic and it came on me, you can change the world from this position. And then at that point in time, I knew, okay, this is it.
It was pretty quick too. That was 2000.
That was 17, beginning of 17,
okay.
Yeah.
Like 2 years, that's it.
Yeah, that's
almost
it, that's
now,
it.
Right?
It's a long drive. It's a long drive, but
absolutely. And we talk about, again, go back to your patience. It took you your whole life to get to 2017. Exactly. You come out, you talk about. Tell me a little story about the rocket. Your example. I think it's great. I feel like you are the example of the rocket. The rocket,
the rocket exudes most of its energy and gas on the way off the launch pad. That's where that's the struggle getting off. But once it gets into orbit, it has inertia and movement of its own. And the hardest part in building a dream, a business, or anything is getting that rocket, that dream, off the launch pad, And the rocket fuel that's in it is a combination of your grind and your why. Because that rocket's potential, your dream's potential, is only equivalent to the why that's behind it. Why you're building that business in the first place. Because life is going to hit you. Some bumps and some attacks and all this stuff. And if your why for starting a business or the dream or whatever it is that you're doing, playing sports or whatever, if that why is not strong enough, when life hits it, you will succumb to that and that dream will be dead on the launch pad. But if that grind is right and if that why is right, you can take that rocket and you can put that thing on Mars. And we know this to be true now, you know? So that's...
What's the end game for Billy here? How far can you take this?
Man,
You're 2 years
I'm just trying to live in the moment, this day to day, in the now, because that's where the power is right now. I had the vision, you know, my mission is impact lives daily. Whether that's YouTube, art, my creativity, the books, the clothing line, whatever it is, it's all circled around and my impact in lives with whatever it is that I'm doing. If I'm doing that, I'm fine with it. But God is unfolding the vision one piece at a time. And right now, I'm just really focused on getting the message out that I'm doing, going out and doing these type of events, man, just one-on-one and trying to sow life. I know God's got the next stage, but right now I'm just trying to be responsible and a good steward of this moment and this time and doing what I'm supposed to do. You know?
And everything comes with it after.
Oh, right,
trust
right,
the process,
right.
After you why, you grind, and trust the process that's coming.
Right, I got this idea of what I call the Bless Factory. It's a big office with everybody working there in different departments, doing different things to impact lives daily. Like maybe you have a TV team, a publishing team, a music team, all these different things, and they're all built around impacting lives in whatever way their gift is, whatever they're passionate about. If I got people that are passionate, okay, let's say you like graphic art and you want to impact lives through graphics, okay, I'll put you in that department, go do your thing. You know what I mean? Impact the world. And just building this thing called the Bless Factory, and everything comes out of it has some kind of love and encouragement and strength behind it. So that's my ultimate thing. And also,
Alsbrooks University.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Grind you.
Grind you. That's it.
Yeah, grind you. You know, before I actually started the book, and before I did this, I actually had another dream that God had put on me, but I believe I ran a little bit before time. Like I ran on. He gave me the vision, but I ran on my time and didn't wait. It was called Bless Buddies. What it was is a group of cartoon characters for kids doing what I do now. Like it was to sow life into them through principles like that I teach adults, but just dumbing it down a little bit for kids that they can understand it. It's called Bless Buddies. And I tried to start that business, but that business required more people to be involved in more resources than I had at the time, because I just coming out of the panic attacks with absolutely zero.
Right.
I had zero credibility in this, because the last time people had seen me was doing music. The last song I had, it was called Papa Pill. It was #1 strip club anthem. Okay, they missed me for 7 years, and I show back up, oh yeah, I got these cartoons for kids called Bless Buddies, and they're looking at me like, bro, you done lost your mind. Like for real, I heard about you losing your mind. So like nobody bought in, and I was really hurt, because I'm like, man, this is a great idea. Like, why is it not working? And then what I realized was, you know, they weren't buying me yet. I hadn't established the credibility of me. So I was like, well, okay, rather than complain and get bogged down in the stuff I don't have the resources, the artists to execute this idea yet, it's not a bad idea, it's just not the right time. So I look back to God and I was like, wait, what now? And what can I do? And then he reminded me of the verse with Moses. Well, what do you have in your hand? Like, what can you do? I said, well, I can write the book. I control that. I don't need resources to do that. I don't need anybody else to do that. I know how to sell one-to-one, you know, just like the CDs. Instead of CDs, it's a book. So I'm in complete control of that. So I set out on that journey, and now I'm building the name to build this credibility. And when I get to the end, I'll come back to the Blessed Buddies, and we will do that dream.
Yeah.
You know, and it'll be a good story, because I started there, no support, no nothing. I put it on Kickstarter. I was trying to raise 20 grand to get the artist and to get the right quality that I wanted to get. I raised like $1,000.
Right?
Yeah, none of the, you know, my mom and a couple family members donated, and that was about it. Nobody else believed in me. They're like, man. Well, I pouted for a good, no lie, I pouted for a good 2 to 3 months. Like completely depressed, like, oh, I had this dream, and everybody just doesn't, you know, if I was selling this rap junk I was doing about killing and popping pills, they would line up all day and pay $100 a ticket. But if I'm trying to help somebody, nobody, you know, I started beating myself like that, you know.
Is that the right choice?
Right. But then I had to catch myself, like, hold on, God didn't bring me out of this thing here to have me pouting around here because somebody didn't get behind me, you know.
If it was easy,
everyone would do it, right?
So now you got to grind, like, okay, it's got to be easy. Okay, you make me work hard. There must be a big platform waiting for me.
That's right,
must
man.
be something
right.
bigger.
The bigger the struggle, the greater the destiny, man. And that's what I was looking at. I'd learned in music though. because in the beginning of my music stuff, I didn't have a hit record. Like, you know, where one record takes off and all the doors open up. I was good, but I never had that record, so I always had to grind. Like, nobody was opening doors. If I want a door open, I had to kick the thing open. So I learned, like, okay, expect that no one's gonna get behind you. Expect that from the gets. You'll never be disappointed, and just grind. When they tell you no, big deal. They tell you yes, I get a little surprised, like, y'all actually believe it? So it's just about going out and doing the things every single day, the principles every single day, believing in the process.
You're very humble. You know, you're very humble, and feel like that is probably one of your most one of my favorite thing about you. You're so humble, but I feel like you maximize. Listening to your story about selling your CDs on the street and the grind, that you maximize every opportunity, whatever it is. I'm going to go 100, 1,000%, 120 until I get there. If it doesn't work, okay, we'll try something else.
Right.
And then now I feel like with all your life, you're peaking right now to, you know, the pad. I feel like it's the right one.
Yeah, all these things were like practice runs to me. Like, I got a bunch of different individual practice runs on things that I would be doing later on in life. So this time I was like, oh, I get a second chance. Because most time you don't get a second chance in life to do something. I felt like I left a lot on the table in the music, like, you know, as far as what I could have achieved. And it always bothered me in those 7 years. I'm like, I lost it. I didn't maximize it. You know, you beat yourself up. And then along comes God with that second chance, like, it ain't over, it's the beginning. You thought that was the preseason. Now let me show you what I can do. See, I had to get you out of the way, Billy, so now I can do what I need to do, right? So he comes in there and it's like, oh, I get a second chance. And then when opportunities come, I recognize what they are. And when pitfalls come, I recognize a little bit what they are because I've had that already. I said, oh, I can compare that to an event in the past. Oh, that's this situation now. I went through that, 20 years ago. I understand. Or that's a pitfall. Don't go down that route because I done made that mistake. No sense making that one again, right? So it's like he's prepared me through those ups and downs of the old life as all a practice run for what I'm doing now.
That's awesome, man. I'm very, very impressed to meet you. And one more question, then we'll go. I want to know about what you're going to bring back to the South. Your maniac that you talk about. But tell me, your numbers are always been important to you because you have the 3, the star. You explained to me number 7. Your dad passed now at 33. It's all numbers in your life that's been connecting to you to God, really.
Right.
Tell me, what's your number one, like one of them that you can explain to us?
Like the 7 in my brand, it's B7U is the name of my clothing. The 7, actually I have it on the design here with the 7. But inside the 7 we have the crown, as we mentioned. It's the 3-point crown: Father, Son, Holy Spirit. The 7 being the number for spiritual completion, right? It's in the center position between these two, representing God. If you put God in the center of your life, then you are blessed and unstoppable. Okay, and inside the 7 there's the cross for Christ. There's a 5-point star at the bottom with each point representing a letter in the word grace. So that keeps me focused. Like, it's like my vision embedded in a logo so that I never forget what I'm here for, So the 7 is very important, and I put it in everything. I'll put it in even places it doesn't belong, like in the grind, you see. But it's to remind me, like, okay, don't right? You grind, but you grind with spiritual authority. There's a grind, right? And then there's a grinding with another kind of power. Right. So that 7 in there, it's just symbolic to keep your mind where it belongs. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. So it just reminds me, keep focused, stay focused. Because the number one reason for failure is broken focus. Because we can accomplish just about anything if we can stay focused and keep our mind on it long enough. When we start getting distracted, social media, the Kardashians, all this stuff that the world keeps throwing at us, right? We get our mind off of where we're supposed to go. Then we begin to falter. But if we stay on it, one mind, one focus, one action, one grind, one team, one union, one vision, one core values, right? If we become consolidated and united, then we have that power to do whatever it is that God's called us to do.
Yeah, you said in one of your videos, you said focus equals power.
That's it.
Focus equals power. If you focus on one thing, all your energy towards one thing, all your decisions are easy to make because is it going to get closer to my one thing, my goal, or not? If it's not, then you do what?
Get rid of it.
Yeah, get rid of it. Only a positive thing. So what are you going to bring back to the South after this?
Man, I came to Carolina and head back to Florida. Maniac, brother. We do. There we go. I'm learning. I'm still learning that one. He's teaching it to me over here, man.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for being here, man. It's a blessing, really, to have you. I'm really excited about today. And
man, I appreciate the honor, man. God bless you, brother.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate you. Blessed and unstoppable.
success starts with putting the right things into your mind. And my new book, Blessed and Unstoppable, was strategically designed to align your mind with the laws of success. This curriculum will teach you the inner mechanics required to go from average to phenomenal. From living a life with limits to being blessed and unstoppable. As you follow this guide step by step, amazing breakthroughs will happen. New doors of opportunity will open, and favor will begin to chase you down. Blessed and Unstoppable is a 31-day devotional on the laws of success. This book will instigate the thought process and actions required to transform your life. Each day has a Bible verse, a teaching on that day's principle, a positive affirmation, a prayer for the day, self-assessment questions, success quotes, action steps, and a powerful inspirational message. Regardless of what field you're in, Blessed and Unstoppable is your blueprint for success. Get your copy at blessedandunstoppable.com. Also available on Amazon.